hate, or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
Hello everybody, we need to talk about Desiree Perez. Okay, so in one of my recent videos, I said, is it worth a video? Is it worth a whole video? We got to talk about this pardon that Desiree Perez apparently allegedly got from Donald Trump during his first term. Okay, let's talk about it. So I have some articles up. This one right here is Variety. This was at the time of the pardon, January 2021. Why did Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez receive a Trump pardon? So we're going to start there. Before we get into that, please don't contact anybody mentioned in this video. The purpose of this video is to read publicly available information and provide opinions and commentary about it. Everybody's innocent till proven guilty. There have been some allegations made against Desiree Perez in a civil court recently, which have to work themselves out as the courts do, to determine or whatever, whether she is going to be held civilly liable. Okay, so recently we've been talking about her a little bit. We talked about her on the five-part interview. Original was copyright struck, but we fighting it right now, so hopefully it goes back up. She was the subject of that interview with her daughter, who purports and makes lots of allegations against Desiree. She's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in that video, and then again in the Nicki Minaj video that we did recently, Desiree Perez came up again. And Nicki Minaj, even since we put that video out, has been tweeting up and down. She has been all over X, y'all. She's done gotten a fight with SZA, still going completely scorched earth. 11/11, make a wish on SZA. Okay, no mercy. All right, she just keeps going in. And she keeps going in on Desiree Perez. She's doubling down, tripling, quadrupling. Now she's been tweeting about a RICO. Just got yourself added to the RICO. And just yesterday, she was tweeting at the CIA and the FBI saying, I'm ready to snitch. I'm ready to snitch on Desiree Perez, FBI, CIA, on Twitter. So let's read this Variety article. Why did Desiree Perez, CEO of Roc Nation, receive a Trump pardon? Now, it was updated since it was written. But again, this is 4-year-old article. This is from back in 2021. That was the year of the pardon that it happened. In the days before outgoing President Trump finally revealed his long list of last-minute pardons and commutations back in 2021, January, several names in the entertainment world had been mentioned as likely candidates. Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, Death Row Records co-founder Michael Harry O. Harris, and then also they were floating around the name Joe Exotic. But that wasn't true. It didn't end up being true. Some names were being floated around whose music background is less known, like Rudy Giuliani and Jared Kushner associate Ken Curson. He was in an indie rock band. Girl, I don't know. Anyway, all I really cared about was Desiree Perez in this list. Now, the Lil Wayne one is interesting too, but we talking about Desiree right now. Why was she pardoned? That's the point of the video. Few expected to see the name of Desiree Perez, CEO of Jay-Z's Roc Nation empire, and along with her husband, Juan Perez, who's Roc Nation's sports chief. Also, I guess he is a long time and valued associate of Jay-Z. And we did hear Demore did also say this, that's Juan and Desiree are married or were married. Okay, so here's a quote. President Trump granted a full pardon to Desiree Perez. The relevant section of the statement from the press secretary regarding executive grants of clemency reads, Ms. Perez was involved in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. Since her conviction, now this is a statement, like a press release from the press secretary about it. She was involved in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. Since her conviction, she's taken full responsibility for her actions and has turned her life around. She has been gainfully employed and has been an advocate for criminal justice reform in her community. Now, I'm starting to realize criminal justice reform it is not necessarily always like the good way. Like reform, y'all, that can mean anything, when you really think about it. I want to see what kind of advocacy and for what kind of reform first, before I'm like, oh, yay. Gainfully employed is almost a comic understatement for the successful CEO of a billionaire's multifaceted, multi-million-dollar entertainment and sports company that oversees the careers of artists, including Rihanna, Mariah Carey, Alicia Keys, Shakira, J. Cole, Big Sean, Megan Thee Stallion, and many others, along with multiple successful athletes and programs for the Super Bowl halftime show. Don't get me started. And other aspects of the NFL's entertainment. It's no coincidence that last year's halftime performers were Shakira and longtime friend of Rock, Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, Lou Taylor and Jay-Z all over the Super Bowl halftime in 2020. Does it surprise you? It certainly does not surprise me. Anyway, after her, this is Desiree, 1994 arrest for conspiracy with intent to distribute narcotics, and it was cocaine, if you're wondering. Perez cooperated the U.S. Attorney's Office, so I don't know, they left out the with, and cooperated how? A lot of people say it was a confidential informant. That's what DeMore says in her lawsuit, alleges. I don't know, I wasn't there. She cooperated with the U.S. Attorney's Office and received a sentence of 5 years probation. Among other offenses, she was later charged with parole violation and served 9 months in prison. So she did ultimately serve 9 months in prison. That was in 1999 because she violated her parole or her probation. Like, she was on probation and she violated the terms or whatever, according to this. So they got a quote from her. "I'm grateful to have received a pardon and to have formally closed that chapter of my life in the eyes of the law." She was 52 at the time. This is 2021. "I have taken full accountability for my mistakes from 25 years ago, but I also take tremendous pride in my personal growth, perseverance, and accomplishments since then. This pardon reinforces my lifelong commitment to advocate for criminal justice reform and social justice initiatives." What kind? Because I'm kind of like burned from the whole Lima thing. You remember what that ARA website was just saying any and every fluffy, fuzzy word, but nothing was really very clear. This pardon reinforces my lifelong commitment to what? Advocate for criminal justice reform and social justice initiatives. I hope it's good. It could be taken good or bad. So I'm going to go with I hope it's a good type of reform. She said, "I feel good, but a little numb." She told this to the New York Times. She said she applied for the pardon just 2 days before she received it. She said, quote, "I haven't forgiven myself, and I'm not sure I ever will." She declined Variety's request for an interview. But how did the pardon come about? Yes, indeed. How did it? Also, just let me put a little sticky note right here. I have another question, which is, if this is for stuff she already served time for, 9 months, and she's already did the crime, did the time, bye-bye, what's the pardon for? I understand if somebody's in prison. I understand if somebody's about to be sentenced or about to be, whatever, you just pardon them. Okay, they get out of jail. That makes sense. Get out of prison. That makes sense. But this is for stuff happened, like she said, 25 years ago. So why do you need a pardon? That's one of the questions on my mind. Hopefully that's the sticky note. We'll get to pull it back off the wall in a little while. All right, so how did the pardon come about? This Variety article goes on. Insiders speculated that Van Jones, boom flash preview, we'll do a little foreshadow right here, lightning flash of the web with this man in it. Anyway, Van Jones, this article again is 4 years old. It is speculated by Variety.com that it was him. He's an author, CNN correspondent, represented by Rock Nation, may have helped to navigate the treacherous waters of the Trump administration. So interesting that they're calling it treacherous, because was it treacherous for everybody? Maybe. Although a source close to the situation denied that Van Jones was involved. Okay, thank you. It's an easy assumption to make. While he is outwardly no fan of the former president, Van Jones did work closely with the Trump administration on many occasions. He is said to be close with Trump's advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner. He also worked with Kim Kardashian to procure the release from prison of Alice Marie Johnson, who had been serving a life sentence for a nonviolent drug offense. After meeting Kardashian in September 2018, Trump commuted Johnson's sentence, and she walked free after 21 years in prison. Okay, well, that's an interesting little tidbit. Their connection came after Jones and members of the Cut 50, the criminal justice reform organization he launched in 2015. First Step Act. Kim Kardashian's all over this. Rock Nation declined Variety's request for further comment. Perez pardon took many by surprise. Also spurred some questions related to the Rock Nation roster. Namely, did efforts to obtain the presidential favor, this part is so shady and like, oh my God, what if it is? Did efforts to obtain the presidential favor explain why so few Rock Nation artists campaigned on behalf of the Democratic ticket, both in the presidential race and in Georgia, where 2 Senate seats were hotly contested, while Alicia Keys and Megan Thee Stallion showed support on social media through other organizations. Their participation hardly compared to appearances Beyonce and Jay-Z made on behalf of the Obama-Biden ticket. While the number of voters who might be swayed by celebrity endorsements might not seem overly significant, in a race that both sides knew was likely to be decided by razor-thin margins in many districts and states, Republicans knew that every vote they could keep out of the other side's camp was important. A source close to the situation stressed that Rock Nation does not impose itself in artists' political involvement. However, one source familiar with Desiree Perez and the former administration wouldn't blame Rock Nation for playing it safe. Quote, "As anyone who's worked with the Trump White House knows, you can't beep him off or he will take revenge." Why is a pardon important for Perez? My question, why? Why is a pardon important? who's already reached the upper ranks in the business. Insiders point to global ambitions for the executive, who was promoted from COO to CEO of Roc Nation in December 2019, as well as the company, the broader company, as well. She has ambitions, but also Roc Nation's ambitions to move into businesses like cannabis. Jay-Z recently launched a brand called Monogram for cannabis. This is where I read that. And they also, Roc Nation wants to venture into cannabis and spirits, and maybe something about Desiree's convictions or whatever. I don't know what the, terminology they're using, but the having done these just jail time and been found guilty of these crimes, she maybe she was like limited or barred from being able to do certain things federally, internationally. I mean, I can only speculate. I really don't know. This is quoting insiders. The company has ambitions to move into businesses like cannabis and spirits. As a convicted felon, this is a quote, there are certain things you can't do, like run a public company that may have been holding Roc Nation back. So this Variety article, of course, it's all speculatory. Like I said at the beginning, who knows if these insiders, you never know. They don't give the names of the insider, how they know the insider. You just don't never know. But in my opinion, it has to be something explaining why she needed this pardon. She wasn't going to go to jail. She already did her time. Why is it important? There's some other reason. And I guess these are all possible reasons, but they're like, yeah, they didn't even do the whole vote or die moment that time. They were like, so Desiree was like, I just applied for the pardon 2 days ago. Yeah, but did you start auditioning to apply during the whole campaign? It's just things to think about. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts and definitely opinions are not defamation. Love you, Mina K. Bye.